Tomb Raider, bears.
Bears.
That was a bear.
Where are you? Where does it start? What's going on?
It looked like it was the beginning of the game because it kind of got back to that. Remember that first campfire she has in the original Tomb Raider?
Yes.
That was like clearly a stopping point where you were like, okay, like.
Oh, and she's shivering. She's shivering, which is cool.
She finally gets at least one homestead, and then that's just kind of like the building point. I think I think that's where we started it off, where she's freezing and like rummaging through the snow. Snow looks amazing. I think like the gameplay I actually wasn't surprised in. They were talking a little bit more about customization and then like it's easier to get supplies for these things. It's not as confusing if you want to like build things. Like build a better bow. You can get the little components of it. Mm-hmm. It seemed less like really revolutionary systems and more just kind of like just making a little bit deeper the stuff that you had available in the game. The way she moved her arrow and the way she like aimed with her arrow and obviously like there was a little reticle that indicated that like the longer you're holding this bow down, the stronger this attack's going to be, but the more your aim might wiggle a little bit, so it's kind of like that give and take. The bear was massive. This was definitely like a not a Bloodborne level boss, but definitely something where like this guy's going to mess you up real quick if you don't like get away from him. And kind of seemed like the bear was kind of like your introduction to this world, that like once you kill this bear and survive, like that was kind of like, okay, now you've moved on to chapter 2 of this game. So it seemed like kind of like the shark from what I saw with Abzu, that like this like this is the last I've seen of you, you bear. Like kind
you
of
don't kill the bear.
Okay. Well, you do kill at the end of the demo. You did kill the bear.
Oh, okay.
And, like go into his cave and like get some last items, but like. It seemed like you like bump into the bear and then the bear kind of knocks you away, and then you're like traveling along, the bear shows up again, and then like the bear knocks you off something else, and then there's that clear point where you're like, okay, I've got a bow now, I've got arrows, I've leveled up a little bit, so I'm a little sturdier, and then you like find the bear's lair, and then you can like hop down from a cliff, and now you're trapped in this area with the bear, and just, there's like a tree that you can run, a couple like rocks that you can hide behind, and just pop up and like shoot your bow. But so again, like gameplay seemed like the same. I'm not underwhelmed because I loved Tomb Raider. I was fascinated by that game. I love survival. I thought just the way that it went through the world, the way that you were able to return to prior areas, and like now it's like sunset instead of middle of the day, and how like the whole environment would feel totally different. I remember there's like one area in the first Tomb Raider where you would like take this super long zip line run because you could like drop off of a zip line and then hook onto a new one. So it was this like 20-second zipline ride that you would take by the shore.
Oh yeah.
And I remember like I did one like in the middle of the night, and then I did one another at like sunrise, and I was like, this environment looks totally different. This is beautiful. So gameplay pretty much looked the same. Looked like they're just kind of building on new systems, but this game looks unbelievable. Like just knee deep in snow, like trudging through the snow and like making marks. Like she had like a little glow stick on her belt that was like lighting up things in her environment that she would back up to. Her hair, like just the snow, like slowly. I mean, we made fun of like how underwhelming it was for Square Enix to show that in the press conference and be like, she's slowly getting dirtier and blood patches are slowly appearing on her face as she goes through. But it is really those little elements. And it's kind of something that's frustrating. We may not see HD remasters in the next gen because it's really those minute details that we're really noticing, smoke when things explode, and really the distance, like really seeing that lighthouse in the distance, or that tower in Uncharted, and like getting there and realizing, wow, it didn't load, before I got to this point.
Yeah.
And there's lots of people. We saw that in Dead Rising. Those were lots of people, all these zombies running around, but really seeing like how Nathan Drake reacted to that guy. Oh, excuse me, sir. And like, that didn't feel just, Assassin's Creed 1, we're just like, you knocked my pot over. It's like, no, it actually feels like I'm in an environment. The textures, environments really felt cold. Really felt like, Lara, what are you doing here? What on earth? She's like lighting a fire, and it's just like, that's amazing. They actually got a fire going, considering how like cold everything is.
Was her buddy in there, in the demo?
No. This was. I get a feeling this was before. This is probably the beginning of the game. This is before you. I don't know if it's going to follow the same plot where you like show up with a bunch of people and then you get separated from them and you have to like collect them again.
I'm trying
afterwards, but
I think most of her buddies don't survive the first game.
Maybe. At one point in the demo, too, you also stumbled upon a military base, which they didn't show. And they had like a big reveal moment where she walked to the edge of the cliff, and this helicopter came flying in and landed, and she was just like, okay, here's a new base.
Cool.
And I love that. It just, the environment, they did such a good job, and it reminded me of Alan Wake in a way where, again, context, where it's like I really feel like, I can tell where I am. It's not like I'm loading to these different areas and, like I just memorize them based on, what that one individual area looks like. It's like when I fast travel from this area up to the mountain, I on top of the mountain can look back and like, oh, I can see that beach area way on the distance. Or at least I get a feeling of like, I know it's over there.
Yeah.
I can just feel that, and I can really feel this environment.
That's some of my favorite stuff, man.
And so it felt like there were a lot of vantage points where you could get these big grand vista views of how beautiful that environment is. And so it's just a question of how big is it? What is she actually looking for? Still no tombs. The little cave that the bear had, there were a couple supplies in there, and that was about it. Or
they
maybe
promised
it was like
tombs.
the beginning of a tomb.
Tombs.
Tombs confirmed for Rise of the Tomb Raider. Still not sure where the rising came from. She seemed pretty risen when the game started. Seemed pretty capable.
Wait till you see where she's at the end of the game.
I like that she's not wearing some sexy outfit, but is legitimately wearing like she came prepared. She's wearing like a parka and like a snow outfit.
Oh, don't worry, she'll lose it later.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's the inevitable her getting arrested and thrown in prison, which every third-person, first-person shooter needs to have.
We're gonna break through that
you
wall.
get captured. If it's a Wolfenstein game, it needs to happen 5 times. But there we go, right in the nose. It is 5 o'clock. We are an hour away.